Hello, my name is Riley, and today we'll be talking about Whitbourne's identity theory. Before we jump into identity theory, let's start by first talking about what identity is. Identity is the characteristics determining who a person is. A lot of things determine your identity. Your thoughts, your feelings, values, behaviors, and beliefs are all ways that you can identify yourself. Susan Whitbourne was the creator of Whitbourne's identity theory. Whitbourne understood that cognitive identity plays a major role in how people identify themselves. In 1986, Whitbourne ran a study which explored the relationship between identity and changes in physical functioning over the adult years. 242 adults rated themselves in 20 areas of functioning and identity processes. The findings indicated that adults as young as 40 are sensitive to age-related changes. Those 65 and older exhibited greater sensitivity to changes in competence. Using data from the study, Whitbourne identified that optimal or healthy adult identity development was based on equilibrium or a balance between two things. Those two things were identity and experiences. There's a constant feedback between identity and experiences. Whitbourne's model of adult identity development involves identity assimilation and identity accommodation. Identity assimilation involves using already existing aspects of identity to handle present situations. You use this to maintain a sense of self. When older adults notice themselves unable to do tasks as well as they used to, for example, going upstairs or remembering names, it can become painful to acknowledge that their own personal weaknesses and declines are happening. They might perceive themselves as being as healthy as they once were, but many older adults are afraid that aging will strip them of their abilities and their independence. If you rely too much on identity assimilation, you create a resistance to change. This may stop older adults from using strategies to compensate for the effects of aging. Some of those effects include lifting less, walking a little bit slower, or thinking about your next move before you take it. My grandma refuses to believe that she is 72 years old, and I notice this a lot with her. She has arthritis and has recently had both of her knees done for surgery and her back surgery. She busted out a window in her house because she was trying to walk through a small space that had a lot of stuff in it instead of clearing it out. Identity accommodation is the process of changing identity in response to experiences. People that use identity accommodation in excessive amounts are easily influenced and shaped because their own identities are unstable. Lack of internal constancy leads to self-doubt and low self-esteem. Older adults who depend on this might overreact to small age-related declines and believe they are unable to help themselves. It creates a learned helplessness. Older adults might fail to take preventative actions to maintain their health. My friend's grandma uses accommodation in her daily life. She tripped and fell down the steps about a month ago, and she has now refused to do anything by herself. She always wants to make sure that someone is around and believes that she is unable to do things by herself around the house just in case she falls again. A study was done by Westerhoff, Whitbourne, and Freeman in 2011, which took 554 adults aged 40 to 85, where 319 of them were Americans and 235 of them were Dutch, and asked them to take the Identity and Experience Questionnaire and the Rosenberg Self-Esteem Questionnaire. Both of those measure how we use assimilation and accommodation in our daily lives. The study was testing how different countries perceived one's own aging processes. The results showed that youthful and positive perceptions of one's own aging process is more important in the United States than it is in the Netherlands. I think this shows that feelings towards aging is cultural. So why is this important? This is important because as we get older, we need to realize that it's okay to age. Everyone does it, and it's a normal part of life. Aging does not mean that you are capable of any less than a younger adult. Older adults need to find the balance between identity assimilation and identity accommodation to help maintain a higher self-esteem. Ways that we can help older adults find a happy balance between these two is to make sure that we are not doing everything for our older family members. They are still capable of doing things by themselves, and if we do everything for them, they will develop learned helplessness. Learned helplessness is when someone suffers from a sense of powerlessness and can lead to depression. But we also need to make sure that our family members are not taking on more than they can handle. We need to help them find that balance. In conclusion, the ability to integrate age-related changes into one's identity and maintain a positive view on oneself is crucial in aging successfully.